And we're live.
We got our smile for a second, Tim. I was like,
I've been trying to do that intro right every time, and it still hasn't worked exactly what this time. It was supposed to put an image up and then play the video, and it didn't put the image up. It just went live, and I'm like, okay, click.
I'm like, that's a perfect intro. You guys should definitely keep that there.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
I am very good. I'm so excited to have you here. For our viewers watching, Judee is one of San Diego's favorite foodies here in San Diego. She's also a mom, she's a businesswoman, and she is the co-host with Vince on a now popular podcast, Chomp N Things. Yay! And I'm going to let you tell us more. Vince may pop in. And hi, Amy. Vince may pop in, and we might get to chat with him. But if not, hopefully we'll get him on another time, because what you guys do is so fun, interviewing people at restaurants around San Diego, getting the stories behind why they started and what they're doing and the food. Judee, will you tell us why you started this? Tell us your story.
Okay, so I apologize for Vince. I'm holding the fort down for Chomp N Things, but Vince may pop in. So how we started, a little bit backstory. I love food. I'm a major foodie. I have a culinary background, but I'm not using it, obviously. I'm in the real estate business currently. And back in the day, after going to culinary school and loving food, I started taking pictures of food, going to restaurants with my family and having them wait until I'm done taking pictures. And people would think I was crazy, right? They would say, "Can we eat yet?" And I'm like, "No, I just got to get the right shot." And, posting it to either a MySpace page or, when Instagram was barely starting, and just posting pictures of new restaurants. And so family and friends would always ask, like, "Oh, where did you go?" Or "What is that location? I've never heard about it before." So having that platform and getting the word out to local businesses about their new hotspot or what's trending was really fun. And so my friends and family decided to say, why don't you just start a food blogging page, or just, a foodie page away from your personal page. And I was thinking, no, I have young boys. I just can't put in the time right now. And it's just not my thing. It's not my priority. My boys are my priority. And so finally, the boys, the years have passed, and I decided, okay, well, maybe finally, after all the nagging from my friends and family, okay, let's start a foodie page. And so that was about 2.5 years ago. And Christelle, you were actually one of the first foodies that I met here in San Diego. You were the one who invited me to join your SD Foodie Bays little group. And I'm so thankful and grateful to finally meet individuals like you who, love food just as much as I do, and hanging out. And then I met Vince along the journey also, and he was doing his video marketing and so forth. And I believe it was last October or November, we decided, hey, we've been talking about this quite some time. Let's do something new. Let's do something that is more than just, food blogging. And so Vince and I said, let's just start a podcast. And, we already have some relations with restaurants in the San Diego local area, and just reaching out to them, asking them to be on the show, talk about their restaurants, how long they've been in the industry, and so forth. It's definitely a rewarding experience to get their name out, to build that relationship, and seeing our audience also get to try and comment on the foods that, we have tasted. So that's kind of my story.
It's been fun to watch the journey, and fun to watch you both working together in this new way. And I missed the bays.
I know. We were also thinking about doing a reunion of some sort, so that would be fun.
Do it. Invite me. And if it's Sunday things, I'm totally.
I know. Yeah.
Sunday thing, invite me because I'd like to pop in and just hang out and help local restaurants. So, Judee, can you tell us? I'm talking personal, but tell us about what you're thinking about doing Sundays, possibly with foodies, to kind of promote our local restaurants and why.
Yes. So my biggest thing is support local businesses, supporting San Diego currently. I started this a little bit, well, not this meetup per se, but I started expanding more on supporting San Diego and local businesses as a whole when the first coronavirus hit. So when everything was shut down, it was all takeout, taking pictures of takeout food and seeing that takeout food could just be as good as sit-down food, and making sure to let our audience and my followers know that these restaurants are still open for either takeout, delivery at these partners that they have, and curbside. Mm-hmm. And it kind of grew, and I had a lot of interest, and so with this second shutdown, I said, okay, well, we got to do something else. And I decided to put something out on my story saying if anybody was really serious about the helping local community, helping them stay afloat. And hopefully just one of our Sunday meetups will keep their doors open just for the month, Mm-hmm. And so this last Sunday was our second meetup, and we went to Oi Fusion. And you just passed by, but it was like the the crawfish dynamite bowl, the pork longanisa, their pork belly with gravy, super amazing. And we actually had a good gathering. We had about 4 different new people show up, and so getting to know them, a little back history about them. They are not all foodie bloggers, so it was nice to meet local people. Having the same love for food. So that's where we're at.
And supporting local. That's so important right now when so many restaurants have had to go under and other businesses. So
yes. And Vince and I talk about local mom and pop shops who don't have the help with social media, who don't have the money to hire a marketing company and pay thousands of dollars. So having us as local food bloggers or just representatives of our local food community, we can definitely help. So we can just tag the location. It doesn't necessarily have to tag their actual social media page, just getting the word out. And just last week, we were talking about a Japanese mochi place in the South Bay that does not have a social media page. And so so we definitely might pop into that mochi shop. He says that there is a long line every single time it opens, and it's always sold out. So we have to keep that momentum going.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can take over this show, Tim, but I have a feeling you.
Well, I mean, I'm going to ask some obvious questions, which shows I've not done my preparation properly. But is Chomp N Things is it an audio podcast only, or is it like video as well? I mean, and somebody messaged me actually when I was talking about this show and said, like, how do you describe food in an audio show? I mean, my taste buds are like this. So talk a little bit about why you chose to do like a podcast, and what kind of like how you. I mean, I think you've talked a little bit about like how has the COVID crisis changed what you would do as opposed to what you have been doing, so to speak.
Yeah. Okay. So we decided a podcast just because we felt like that's the next new platform. People like to listen either if they're going on their runs or doing long drives, or not wanting to read a book, obviously, or, just popping in headphones just seem easier now. And it's anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, our podcast range. And we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify. And so that's where our audience can listen to us as of right now. Vince is a great and an amazing videographer, and also he's very good with graphics and finding little snippets. So we'll definitely record our podcast, and he'll make little snippets to let our audience know, like, hey, we're coming out with our podcast episode, and it releases every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's a plug.
Yeah, no, free.
And then it'll be on those platforms, and also leading up to the snippet, he'll also make an actual static post letting our audience know and our followers know where we were, maybe what we were talking about, and a small caption. Yeah. And the second part to your question is, how is it different? So the beginning of the shutdown, mid of March, Vince and I started to have a conversation. Okay, so if we can't go out to the restaurants, if we can't go out to these businesses, how can we do something different to keep our podcast going? Because obviously our podcast and our business is going to revolve around with outside meetings with the restaurants. And if they're shut down, then we definitely can't meet at all. So we decided to go on Zoom meetings like everybody else. And we asked the restaurants if they were comfortable doing the Zoom meetings. Some restaurant owners are not that savvy, and we had to, train them, which was fine because it's a very seamless process, just like StreamYard. It's such a great platform. And the restaurant owners were ecstatic that we were still wanting to get them on, tell them about, their back history again, and if they are currently open and what hours they're open for, and if they're doing takeout, delivery, and so forth. Just helping spread the word as much as we can. Yeah.
Tell us about. Oh, did you have? No, Tim, go ahead.
Me and Vince do that all the time.
Well, I mean, this is like you learn after a while. We could have like some secret signaling system. I mean, this is actually a question for both of you in a way. I mean, what has happened to the restaurants in San Diego? I mean, do you reckon that all of them are going to reopen when and if things go to a more normal situation, or has there been? Because I mean, there's been a lot of places that haven't really reopened here, so I'm guessing it's the same in San Diego. So, like, how has COVID affected the San Diego restaurant scene in general?
It's probably the same as you, Tim, from where you are. The San Diego community it's going to take a while for us to bounce back, unfortunately. I feel as if there are restaurants that have closed and not a lot of people have any news about it. If it's a big chain, then obviously it's on the news. But if it's a mom and pop shop, you won't know unless you drive to it, or if they have a social media page and they posted something about it, unfortunately. And it's sad to see, So that's why I wanted to do what I do, and hopefully it will grow into something and keep continuing to support these local businesses and keep them afloat. I actually just spoke to a friend who owns a restaurant who decided to open her restaurant during COVID-19. And her biggest, one of her goals every day, she tells herself, as long as I just stay afloat and break even to pay rent, that would be like, her happiest moment for the month. So just hearing that, it kind of like breaks my heart. I want to make sure that these businesses stay afloat, but also make money, because they have to take care of family. They have to take care of themselves and so forth. So whatever we can do.
And this is really community. This is how community can support community. If we can each just go support a local restaurant, a locally owned restaurant, and help keep them afloat. Let's plug some of your favorite restaurants, because I know when I was hanging out with you guys, you introduced me to restaurants that I had never been to. I mean, I remember the Kamayan Feast, and that I will get that. Plug some of the local restaurants that you and Vince have gone to and that kind of stand out for you.
Vince actually just texted me right now, so let's see what he's doing.
Okay, Vince. Let's plug Vince for a minute too, because he does social media business, and he is, like you said, he's very good with the videos, and businesses, as far as I know, it's not just restaurants, but businesses can hire him to be their social media person, and and he is really, really good and really authentic. He brings the clients to you, the ones that will actually pay. So let's plug him for a second.
So his Instagram is Marvelous Muncher, and his marketing page is Marvelous Marketing. And again, like what you said, Christelle, he's amazing at what he does, and hopefully he'll keep going to these local businesses and just help spread the word. Also, he's really good on camera too, and he's a huge goofball with a big heart. So that's why I love having him as my partner. He makes food look so good. If you can see his face on these foods.
He brings attention to the food. You want to eat it. He has the personality, but he is really good for people looking to hire. Really, really authentically good. And he's teaching social media now. I've noticed in his other account, and I don't remember what it's called.
Marvelous Marketing.
Marvelous Marketing. So businesses that are looking to hire local and possibly beyond. Marvelous Marketing. Check him out.
Yeah, he's done some chiropractor videos, and he's done some dental videos in the local area. So you should probably see that on his marketing page.
And I noticed he gives a free 15, if I remember correctly, a free 15-minute consultancy. Might be
yes.
Okay.
I believe so. Yeah, he is definitely still doing that. And so him handling social media pages, he's still doing that, and reaching out to local food bloggers who are willing to help spread the word also. And so, yeah, a couple of restaurants that we've been to lately, Fusion Eats, that's my personal friend who wanted to just stay afloat, who opened during COVID.
Okay.
She's in the USD area, and she specializes in, fusion Asian food and also vegan food. So if you're interested, Christelle, they have outdoor seating. We could social distance and eat together.
Yes, let's do it.
We've done. I'm going to butcher his name. I butchered his name on the podcast. It's Antica Trattoria. It's an Italian place in La Mesa.
Yeah.
And Chef Franco is amazing. He knows all the customer's name by heart. So there's a lot of already local La Mesa residents that have gone to his restaurants, years to date. He's been in business for about 21 years, he said.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, in the heart of La Mesa. And he's still thriving. He just put out this little ramp. So now there's a lot of outdoor seating. Before, I believe he only had 4 tables.
Okay.
So he's expanding his outdoor seating.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the one podcast that I watched carefully because they were joking with you specifically.
Yes. Every single time there is like, jokes on me. Let's put her on the snippet. It's funnier that way. We get more views. I'm like, fine, that's fine. I can laugh at myself. It's okay.
So funny. What are some of your favorite restaurants here locally that you have visited, either during COVID or before?
I frequent at PT Eatery, and PT Eatery is a Vietnamese restaurant, and their egg rolls are to die for. So they don't use just the regular egg roll wrappers. They use a spring roll wrapper, and they don't use pork and shrimp. They use ground chicken.
Okay.
So it's healthier, and their rice dishes are amazing. They also have a banh mi with bone marrow spread inside, and you can dip it with the pho soup, and that's one of Vince's favorite. I know, and their garlic butter chicken wings and their garlic butter baby back ribs. So this is what we were talking about, Tim. How you make food sound amazing on a podcast. You just basically start making up words and hoping that our audience and our followers can visualize the the food and the recipes that the owners and the chefs put into, so
Yeah.
yeah.
This is where I always like asking stupidly general questions, so I'll ask.
That's okay.
But what makes a good restaurant for you? I mean, obviously, it's not just the food. What are the other things about a restaurant that make a restaurant stand out to you and Vince?
Yes. So Vince and I always talk about customer service. Customer service is huge. I've been a server in my life, and so I know exactly, how it takes and what it takes to have that service and to make sure that your customers want to come back. If you have bad customer service, no matter if your food is great or not, that customer is probably not going to come back again. They're probably going to let their friends and family know and influence their decision to not coming back to your restaurant. So customer service is huge. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember this. There's actually a Chinese restaurant in London which is famed for its poor customer service. It's almost
really?
made a thing out of it.
So is it like people go because of the poor customer service?
Right, yeah. It's not something I've seen that much. So.
When restaurants put outside their door, so-and-so put on Yelp, and then it's like the worst review ever.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And it's like they turn it around to advertise their restaurant.
Yeah. I for some reason, I've seen a lot of restaurant owners go that route. They posted their bad reviews saying, saying something funny or something clever. Hopefully that's something that will help them either grow or train their employees. I don't know. Or maybe these are just one-off Yelp reviews. We all have bad apples out there, right? They want to put out a bad review, no matter if the food was good or customer service was good. They just want to do it. And sometimes it's unfair for the restaurant too, and it decreases their rating. So 100% of the time, I would advise anybody to not trust Yelp reviews. Just go out and try it for yourself. And once you try the food and their customer service, then you can have your own opinion, because everybody's taste bud is different. Everybody's experience is going to be different also.
And we know that the stars don't necessarily mean how good the food is, which is basically what you're saying. I mean, it's 5 stars, and I've experienced 5 stars restaurants that I'm like, and then 2 or 3 stars that are incredible.
Exactly.
And so if a smaller restaurant doesn't have as many reviews versus a restaurant that's been around longer, I love what you said. Go try it anyways, because that was my experience. I mean, what are you and Vince planning to do now in the future with your podcast? Are you going to keep the pace? Are you going to have something more that you want to do? What is?
So a good question. So the second shutdown is not as huge as the first shutdown. So with the outdoor seating, restaurants have been able to still keep, still stay open, stay afloat, and offer the same great food and the same great customer service as, they once did before this whole COVID happened. And so Vince and I had decided if we were both comfortable enough with social distancing and having the restaurant owner approve, then we would go out there and sit with the owner and still try their food and record our podcast. And our next one is going to be Pizza Nova, and they're actually off of Harbor Island, and we're going to be sitting on their patio overlooking Harbor Island.
Okay.
So we're super excited about that.
Okay. So Ocean View.
Yes, exactly. Ocean View, San Diego. Beautiful.
And have you been there before, or is this your first time? Okay.
So I've been there before. I reached out to the owner's daughter because I have been in contact with her before, and I still try and support them during COVID. And she was interested. And so I asked her, as long as you're comfortable, we, can space out the tables of some sort. Vince has a really good way of placing his cameras to record, so we don't have to sit close to each other at all and still record the same and have the same effect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have some other ones that have you scheduled some other restaurants out? Are you waiting to hear from anyone?
Yeah, we're waiting to hear from Rusty Cucina, which is a new spot I believe it's in North Park. And they just opened probably not even a year ago. And it's an Italian restaurant. The last time we went there, they had the big cheese wheel. You know, everybody loves the cheese wheel. It's so like Instagram worthy, right? And they make gnocchi the last time we were there. And it was so delicious. Cheesy. You know, we have to have the cheese pull, right?
I mean, the things. Okay, Tim, explain to Tim a few of the foodie necessities, the cheese pull and maybe the egg, because this is entirely Instagram worthy.
Exactly. My thing is the noodle pull. I'm in love with noodles. I'm in love with pasta. So the noodle pull and the cheese pull is definitely a thing. And the yolk porn is another huge trendy Instagram worthy photo or whatnot. I definitely have a noodle pull, and I actually got my boys to join in on the fun. So let's see.
Tell me when.
There you go, right there.
That's a noodle.
Those are my two older boys that helped me pull the noodle shot.
So that this is the noodle pull.
Yes.
And you said, what was the other? The cheese pull. Do you have a
cheese pull? I do in there somewhere. I haven't had a cheese pull in a while. There's another noodle pull. See, I'm famous for that.
And people have to know what the egg porn is. Do you have? I don't know if I've seen.
There's a cheese pull right there, a mozzarella stick.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
Yeah, it's amazing. I believe it's a garlic parmesan cheese curd. Okay. Oh my goodness. Amazing. More noodle pulls. Oh, that one is a pancake souffle. It's a creme brulee pancake souffle. And they actually are going to open back up tomorrow, I believe. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Yes. So they were closed for the second shutdown, but they decided to ramp up and do their outdoor seating. So they'll be back again. It's Cake to Party, and it's on Convoy.
It's, what is it called? Cake to Party?
Cake to Party.
Ooh, on Convoy. Oh my goodness.
And they have an amazing tom yum spaghetti. Weird. Sounds weird, right? Tom yum, like tom yum soup.
Well, explain it to us. What is that? Okay. Hi, Zone, I see you.
So tom yum soup is derived from the Thai cuisine, and it's spicy and it's tangy, and they made spaghetti out of it, and it's a seafood spaghetti. So they'll have mushrooms and shrimp and I believe some clams, and they use the same ingredients as tom yum soup. So it's not soupy. It's a dry version of a tom yum spaghetti. And it's amazing. You have to try it, Christelle.
What is
Here's a cheese pull. There you go.
This is like a badass cheese pull. There, it's on there. That is a good one. It's so good. If we could show the egg porn though, because that's who made that famous? One of our favorite foodie friends kept doing the egg porn, and then suddenly it caught on.
Yeah, there's one right there. Scroll up just a little bit, Tim. Up. One more. There we go. There's the egg porn shot.
Where is it?
Right
there. Very bottom.
Yes. Left-hand corner.
Oh, this
yes.
What's that?
So, tell for everyone who doesn't know what egg porn is, tell our audience what this means and how you do it and why it's awesome for the camera.
So if anybody loves eggs, even if you don't, it's just such an amazing picture or video because it's so satisfying. A lot of people like, the the ASMR or the mukbangs or the mukbangs. Some people love just food porn.
Mm-hmm.
And so these eggs are either sunny side up or over easy. And you slice them and the yolk just comes out flowing with ooey goodness. And
slowly, and it's just beautiful.
Yes, exactly. And so it's just satisfying to a lot of people, and they love seeing that over and over and over again.
That's so funny. And then the mukbang. Tell our audience what a mukbang is.
Okay, so I think I'm butchering it. I think it's mukbang.
Okay.
But I've been calling it mukbang too because, you know, it's how it's spelled, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yes, the mukbang is you're eating a enormous selection of food in front of you.
Uh-huh.
And you record it so your audience can see you eat, you know, the abundance of food. And the ASMR, it's also a satisfying sound that you make when you're chewing, like the is it there's another word for smacking, where you're
smacking. Okay, yeah,
like, you know, in the crunch and the slurping. So all of those,
they're oddly satisfying. It sounds weird.
Yes.
But we saw for our Tim is one of our viewers, Tim Stone. I saw donuts in here. I keep telling him San Diego has an incredible donut culture because we
Yes.
have a coffee culture, we have a donut culture, we have beer. I mean, we have it all.
Yeah.
So I saw some donuts on your feed. So
yes, I am a huge donut lover, and I really try not to support the chains like Dunkin' Donuts and so forth. But we have a donut bar who's owned by Chef Santiago, and he's amazing. So if you bring out your kids on the weekend and you're in line, he gives out free donuts to your kids. And that's an amazing gesture. Copper Top, they make fresh donuts on the spot when you order it. So it's not pre-made like at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Copper Top actually makes it when you get there.
Oh my goodness. Although
Yes.
Okay, so I have to say Tim Sohn is a Dunkin' man. Tim, there you go. That's awesome.
Yeah, we love donuts in our household, obviously, you know, but you know, and fun fact, donuts actually has less calories than a bagel.
There you go. That's that's
good to know. Exactly. And you should head out to San Diego when all of this COVID is done, because there's so much amazing food, restaurants or shops. It doesn't have to be a chain. You'll still love it 100%.
It's the culture of food here is
Yes.
just fabulous because San Diego is such a local. We love our local shops. We love to support our local shops.
And we're so diverse, right, Christelle?
Yeah.
So you can find, you know, in a suburban area, you can find everything from Italian, from Asian to, you know, a fusion to American.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just one-sided. So that's why I love the San Diego community. And I'm born and raised, so I might be biased though. So
tell us about, I keep asking you to, because San Diego is unique to the culture and the food that we have here. We have such a vast array. So we're going to talk about things, and then kind of foodie language. We'll talk about things that non-foodies may not be aware of around the world. So tell us, you guys all introduced me to boba drinks. Tell us about our boba community and what that is.
So now you like the black balls.
Explain what that is, though.
So boba is huge here. It's just a little tapioca black ball made out of starch, and it's brewed until it's, you know, tender and chewy of consistency, and you can put it in any drink, in coffee, in Thai tea, in slushies, in milk teas, and so forth. So we have a huge boba community. And there's a share tea, there's a tea station, there's a ding tea, there's a gotcha tea. It's just so many that you can name. Yeah, it comes from either, a chain to franchises to mom and pop shops. And yeah, I mean, my favorite is the milk teas, the jasmine milk green tea. If you can't make a solid, authentic milk tea, then I won't try anything else. And if your boba is not the right consistency with the chew, because there are some people who are not experienced with making boba. So it could be still hard. And you're thinking, okay, so the person who's boiling the boba, you only have one job in the back. So why have you not tasted the boba? It's still hard, right? Tim, have you had boba before?
No.
No?
It is here in London. I think they call it bubble tea or something. Well, or maybe it was boba. But no, I've never had it. So
I'm going to have to do some research about some London boba teas, and I'm going to have to send you out there.
Yeah, well, it's that's. I mean, I was going to ask, interrupt the food chat.
That's okay.
But like I've been to San Diego for Social Media Marketing World every year for about the last 5 years, and I'm fingers crossed by next March it should be open again. But
yes,
I was going to ask you guys, you experts on the food of San Diego, where is the best area for somebody who's like a tourist or a visitor to San Diego? Where's the best area in terms of restaurants, or is there any restaurant that's worth going out of your way to experience just because it's different to other cities and other places?
Christelle, you want to answer this first? You go first.
I'm going to let you. I don't.
Let's get Christelle get the answer wrong, and then you can.
You can't get it wrong because there's so many. I'm going to say if you come here, oh gosh, and again, Judee introduced me to all kinds of restaurants that I had never tried before, and that's the beauty of the foodie community. We keep introducing each other to.
Yeah.
For me, it would be Musita Bistro, for sure, locally owned. Have you been there yet, Judee?
I have not, but it's on my list.
Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. Owner, first of all, phenomenal. Okay. Customer service, phenomenal. And if you do a podcast, I will be listening for sure. I'm in love with the restaurant. Anyone who comes to San Diego, Musita Bistro, it's Ethiopian. Yes. It's an adorable restaurant on Adams Avenue, I believe. Is it on Adams? No, it's not on Adams. It's University Heights. But for sure, Musita Bistro, Ethiopian food you eat with your hands. You wrap up their bread-like substance in the food that's already on the plate. It's communal eating. You eat it with your hands. And this particular restaurant, again, locally owned, love the restaurant owner, love that they give back to community, and everyone has to go to Musita Bistro. So I always say Musita, but there's no wrong answer because San Diego is filled with phenomenal locally owned restaurants. So that's my plug. But Judee, I want to hear
No, Christelle is absolutely right. San Diego is a huge melting pot. So I've actually had people across the world who message me directly and ask, I'm coming to San Diego in a couple of weeks. What should I eat? And I always ask them, what are you craving? Or what are you looking for? Because not everybody is going to have the same taste. I can always say, go to this Asian spot or go to this Italian spot or, a Ethiopian spot. But I'm not sure if that's what you're craving at that time. Mm-hmm. So I would say every neighborhood has a little gem of its own. You just have to let me know exactly what you're craving. I can send you out to Convoy if you want all the bubble teas and all the Asian foods because they have anything from Chinese, Vietnamese, Korean, Japanese, and so forth. Or I can send you to, South Bay where they're just, mainly specific for, other certain foods. Or downtown if you want the nightlife and you want something that's open, longer, and also have live music or of some sort. So there's not a bad answer, like Christelle says. And of course, our beaches are beautiful, and there is now a ton of food places along the beach. You can take it to go, sit on the beach, and enjoy the water for a couple of hours, and call it a day.
Okay, I want dumplings. Let's say I want dumplings. I want San Diego's.
Donkey.
Where are we going?
So if you want dumplings, I would say definitely the mom and pop shop Dumpling Inn on Convoy.
Okay.
I don't want to plug Din Tai Fung too much, but obviously it's a chain. Okay. It's a big chain, and they probably don't need our business. And Dumpling Inn would be the next hotspot. It would be my second choice. But again, I would also ask you, what kind of dumplings do you want? Do you want Taiwanese dumplings? Do you want Shanghainese dumplings? Or do you want Hong Kong dumplings like hakao and siu mai and, you know, all that other stuff? Right?
I think you just have to try each one, Christelle.
Wait till you go with Tim Lewis and Tim Sohn, because he's watching here too. Wait till you come to San Diego again. I think we need a food tour.
I think so.
With Judee and Vince. You guys could do a food tour. Next Social Media Marketing World.
Yeah.
Tour with Judee and Vince.
I know. We should definitely put that on our long list of chores.
Well, hopefully February the 27th next year, I think is when it starts. So.
Oh, wow.
I've got a feeling it's just hopeful. I think that things will be a lot better by then than now. So
I hope so, because I can't wait to get out of here too. I mean, I love my city and I rep my city so hard, but I'm ready to get out. You know, we had our passports done last year, thinking that we were going to do an Asia trip this year, because my family is from China and Vietnam, and my husband's family is from the Philippines. And so we wanted to do a little Asia tour to get the boys to see where, you know, our ancestors and our relatives are from. But, you know, with all this COVID, we had to put it on hold. So we're hoping next year for sure.
And are you going to take some pictures of the food? Will that be part of it?
Yes. Yes.
I think you should go to hand drawing them instead of taking pictures. Pen and baby, go old school.
Yeah, and my uncle, who passed away years ago, he left his restaurant to his son, and so that they're in Vietnam, and so I can't wait to see how he's doing with the business now, because I was there when my uncle was still alive, and his wok magic was amazing. So I'm hoping that he still has that. Like his dad has taught him enough to make sure that the business stays afloat and everything. But I'm sure, you know, his mom is still keeping him busy and nagging him and making sure that it tastes just like his dad's food.
Tim Sohn, one of our viewers again, what coffee shop do you recommend near the convention center? Which that's a really good question, because we have so many visitors coming in to the downtown convention center area. What do you suggest, Judee?
Ooh, so that's a good one. You know, I'm
There's not really that many, is there? I mean,
that's exactly. I would say if you want to drive before going to the convention center, then I would go to the Forum Coffee.
Where's that?
The Forum Coffee is off of Balboa and Genesee, and they have amazing coffee. Their most favorite is, I believe, it's the Troubleshooter. It's their homemade or house-made salted caramel coffee, and it's amazing. Yeah, and we also have 2 kiosks. They're called Shaka Coffee. So they're kind of just sitting in the parking lots of some plazas. They have an amazing Thai, I believe it's a Thai latte. It's their Shaka. It's one of their popular ones, and they use condensed milk in their coffee, just like a Vietnamese coffee.
Vietnamese coffee. Okay, explain to our audience what a Vietnamese coffee is. What sets it apart?
So a Vietnamese coffee is obviously using their specific coffee beans, and they grind it, and they use a little dripping contraption. And so there's coffee grinds, and then they pour probably a cup of boiling hot water, and it'll drip coffee into the glass cup, and then you can then flavor it with condensed milk. So in Vietnam also, they also throw in an egg, and it's kind of like a custard-ish. So if you YouTube it, you'll find a couple of people trying it, and it sounds amazing. I've never tried it. I that's definitely on my list to try when I do go. So I'm excited.
That and a Vietnamese coffee is very strong, very, very.
Oh, you'll be wired for a day and a half.
Well, apparently, like Greek coffee is supposed to be so strong that you put your spoon in it, it just stands up.
Oh wow!
Well, I've never had Greek or Turkish coffee. They're supposed to be stupidly strong coffee. Well, we have a question. We have a question from Tim Son. How do do you all take your coffee? Which is quite a broad question, actually, because first of all, what type of coffee do you have, and do you even like coffee?
Yeah, I love coffee. I'm a coffee fiend, so I always have to have coffee. And I would say my most favorite is obviously Vietnamese coffee because it has condensed milk, so you don't need to have the extra sugar. It's the creamer and the sugar all in one. And I actually like mine really sweet. So that's how I take my coffee.
Do you have boba with it though? Do you do the Vietnamese coffee with boba? No?
Yeah, unfortunately I don't. I only do it with the milk teas because I feel like coffee is a morning thing, and having boba too early, I don't know how that's gonna be.
How do you like your coffee?
So who was asking who? Oh, are they asking me?
Sure.
Well, I've been transitioning because I could never really get to having black coffee. But I've been having basically coffee with oat and almond milk and stuff instead recently.
Okay.
I always used to just order cappuccino because I like the sound of it. There's a world of difference between coffee in the US and the UK, and Europe is so much better than the UK again. But I've heard Australian coffee is supposed to be amazing. So I don't know if Vietnam is in that area of kind of like the Asian, because it's interesting how coffee varies from place to place. I mean, the best coffee I've had is in near the border between France and Italy, and that was amazing. I mean, I'm not meaning to disparage American coffee, but I don't know what they do with it.
And it's your taste and it's your opinion. So
yeah, but I mean, obviously, you've now got to go as well to Vietnam, to go to Australia and France and Italy and various other places to test out all the coffees.
Yes.
So you should get a government grant for doing that so that you can then take it back and say, like, I think actually American coffee is not as good as it should be. Oh, I've had good coffee in the US. It's just not a norm. I'd say the Starbucks level is pretty terrible most of the time.
Well, well, definitely hit up the locally owned coffee shops, because maybe Judee can talk more about this, but the locally owned will get special coffee beans. I mean, they'll do a lot of things to get their special coffee greens. I'm sure you're not biased, Tim. That was one of our comments. But can you speak on that, Judee, at all? I've noticed some of our locally owned shops, they outsource the coffee beans. They even roast them on site. Do you know anything about kind of how we do an individual?
I don't. I haven't talked to any coffee shops at all. That should actually be on our list. I think Forum, they get their coffee beans from somewhere, and it definitely tastes different than your local, Starbucks or Coffee Bean.
Yeah.
I definitely prefer locally owned. They don't seem so processed, and it's the quality also that they put in their coffees that you can definitely taste. Yeah, I don't know too much about Shaka coffee. There's so many others here in San Diego. There's Mostra Coffee up north in Rancho Bernardo. Yeah, they take a spin on coffee with Filipino fusion, I believe.
Mm.
And there's also, what is that one called? I believe they're in North Park. James Coffee.
James Coffee.
Yes.
Is that outdoor seating? Do they have outdoor seat? Well, they all do.
Yeah, I believe they do now, and I believe they have 2 locations, and their coffee is amazing also. I know a lot of coffee. I just don't know a lot of the locally owned, their backstory.
What is that? Is it Dark Horse that's in North Park?
Oh, Dark Horse, yes. They also have a vegan donut there.
So, yeah, and I know King's Coffee actually roasts their own beans. So some of those, a lot of our locally owned. So finding the locally owned that roast their own beans might set it apart a little bit for you, Tim.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, I've not visited really any of the local. Places.
But you're probably right.
I'm probably just being totally unfair to American coffee.
We haven't tried from what I hear, France is very good with their coffee, and Italy is very good with their coffee, like you said, Tim. So
yeah, that's what I heard too.
But I've heard from Australians, and I can't tell if it's just them being sort of bigging themselves up, but Australians, I mean, they always end up coming over to Europe and traveling everywhere because it's such a large effort to come over, and they're like, oh well, our coffee's as good as the stuff in France and Italy. I don't know. I don't know if it's just them lying or if it's actually really good. So, and I'm not yet gone to Australia to check yet. So
that's
definitely on my list then. When I do go to Australia.
Oh well, obviously going to have to do. If social media marketing world happens, as it hopefully should do next year, me and Tim Son and you guys will have to have a sponsored. We'll have to have a beer tour one night, and then the next morning we'll have to have a coffee tour to wake us up from the effects of the beer tour the night before. Then do a restaurant tour. Somewhere along the line there'll be a conference there or something, but we can find something that makes sense.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. We definitely have to put something together.
This is and our friend Tim, who keeps popping on. Now he wants to do, this is the live video man. He wants to do live videos in San Diego coffee shops when traveling is a thing again. That's
awesome. Definitely do that.
This is getting better and better. My dream is coming true.
Yeah, let's forget all the other stuff and we'll just do like live food tours when it's a thing again.
Yeah, food tours are a real thing.
Yeah,
and that's something that I believe that not a whole lot of people know about, but I've heard about it in different cities, especially like San Francisco and LA. They do have these experiences, I believe, on Airbnb, and so it's just this one person who says, okay, it's X amount of money. I'm going to take you here for starting at this time to this time, and you'll try out these places. So, I mean, it's definitely a great marketing scheme too for those restaurants.
I think I've done one in a few cities where people book them. We did one in, where there's mainly bars as well as restaurants, but did one in Shanghai.
Ooh.
And that was more sort of like the whole thing, because it's interesting actually being basically just an English speaker. You learn basically that when you go to China, nobody speaks English really. They'll have a go, but it's very different going to a place where nobody really speaks English to somewhere like the US where everybody more or less speaks English. They don't spell it properly, but they do speak it. So I think having a guide helps a lot. But yeah, food tours are amazing.
I believe my parents went to a food tour in Thailand, and they said it was amazing too.
Yeah. Oh, that's a dream. Oh
yeah.
My God. I'm dreaming now. Judee, we're getting ready to sign off, but what is there a particular foodie that might have inspired you that we might all know, or maybe we don't know? A food adventure or
Vince.
Oh, Vince inspires us all.
I know. Just plug him because he has. We should put a picture on this little corner spot because he wasn't here. You know what? I don't know in particular if something inspired me, but just my love for food. Ever since I was a young kid to being a teenager to watching all of the Food Network channels. I wouldn't even watch the news or anything else. I mean, of course, there's our shows that are one-offs that you watch religiously, but the Food Network channel is always on in my household. I follow the big YouTuber stars like Mark Wiens and Mikey Chen and the Fung Bros. You know, just I have a full stomach and I still go on YouTube and still look for more food. You know, it's just how ridiculous my love for food is. My mom is an amazing cook. So whenever she cooks and we come over for dinner, you know, I have no complaints at all. She just makes everything from Chinese food to Vietnamese food. And my mother-in-law is an amazing cook. She is from the Philippines, so she cooks Filipino food. So just having a palate for all of those cuisines, you know, I'm so lucky. And I'm willing to try anything and everything, maybe.
Where can we find you?
I am on Instagram, Judee the Foodie, as it says on my little name tag there. And we, Chomp N Things is also on Instagram and on Facebook. So you can follow us on there. And we're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Okay. And then we'll put Vince up too. Where can we find Vince?
Vince is also on, he's on Instagram and he's on Facebook on all of his platforms. So Marvelous Muncher, Marvelous Marketing, and he's on YouTube also. He has a YouTube page.
Okay.
Yeah, he used to have Marvelous or Munchin Mondays. Do you remember that, Christelle?
Yeah, I do.
So we got to get him to do his Munchin Mondays again when all of this is, you know, settled.
No, he's got the rest of the week now. He's munching.
Yeah.
For Chomp N Things, it's Chomp N Things.
And yep, CHOMPN Things, THINGS.
So it's not and, it's N. It's N.
Yeah, N. The letter N. Yep. Where we talk about food and things, ridiculous things, anything.
I saw you talking about, I want to say, growing up. I saw you were telling a story about growing up and kind of sharing stories, and that's fun. You
The nice thing about podcasts, you can go on a tangent anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So Vince and I, we always want to get our followers to get to know us a little more, just because I know our snippets are about restaurants and supporting local and so forth. But we like to make sure that our listeners know us a little more and connect with us in some sort of way. And so I talked about how I got my name when I was, you know, when my mom was pregnant at the time. And so, yes, it's a good story. So you should check it out.
Fun. It's fun.
So,
well, with that, Tim, do you have final words for us?
what on the board?
Yeah. Oh, tell us what it says. So Tim, every day, every time we meet, maybe when he does other shows too, I'm not sure, but he has something behind his head. Today it is time to ride the wave.
Yeah. And I'm not going to tell you what that's about. No, well, I was just thinking like there has to be a point and then eventually where with any project or anything, you have to just kind of do it. So I've not yet got around to actually taking that advice today, but hopefully I will do this week at some point.
Not writing. Tim is very big on just do it and figure it out and jump. So
very cool.
I'd like to be more.
That.
I mean, Christelle's the person. She's doing all sorts of things. She's got T-shirts and everything now. So.
I know. Talk about your T-shirts a little bit.
I'm wearing one right now. Let's not go too far down, but love is our superpower. And the reason why I'm doing this particular message is one, especially right now, in the midst of our international stuff that's happening. I feel like love and kindness can bring community together, whatever that means. And it's going to mean something different for everyone. So my boys and I have worked together very much to produce these Love is Our Superpower shirts, with the hope of people sharing their own stories of love and kindness, big and small. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything like gigantic, the small acts of love and kindness that we see, you know, day to day in the midst of crisis. For example, you go to restaurants and you promote them. That to me is an act of kindness and love, keeping community alive. So that was my kind of desire behind that. And then of course, I wanted to create a brand that would give back to victims or survivors of domestic abuse. So the other part of my brand, and I hope to do more in the future, but for every purchase made, $1 is going into an organization locally that helps or assists domestic abuse survivors. So that's,
I love that.
A tiny plug. If you guys ever decide to promote nonprofits, because I know you guys do that every once in a while.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. So
yes, I will definitely keep that in mind. I'll let Vince know. So I actually have been meaning to get in contact with you to do some takeout or something, so we can catch up. So that will be a good.
Oh gosh, I miss all of you. And invite me on a Sunday, or I'll kind of spy on you. I want to do this.
No, we should
the window as you're eating your takeout.
Thank you, Judee, for being here. Vince,
thank you so much for both of you.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. Vince.
Thank you. Yes, we will need to get Vince on sooner than later. But thank you so much for having us on and letting me hold the fort and letting me do all the talking. This is brand new because sometimes Vince, I'll let Vince take the stage.
No, it's good to hear your voice.
Thank you.
I take it sometimes. It's just
right. I'm playing the outro. Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Thanks.